Welcome to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad, Zichron Kadesh, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We share today with TJ in Australia, Robert, shalom to you in Boston, and Erica is with us in Norway. John, shalom to you in North Carolina. A good night to everyone in Australia, to June. And Eugenia is with us in Calgary, Boker Tov. Nateen, shalom in Canada. Darren is in the Philippines, good evening. Simcha in Florida. Michael, shalom to you in Toronto. Leah in Fort Myers, Florida is with us. Serach in New York, welcome. Lori in Charlotte, North Carolina, shalom. Davida and Liba in New York, good morning. Tim, Texas, Boker Tov. Luz, welcome. Anna, good afternoon to you in Budapest. David is with us in California. Arlene in Philadelphia, shalom. Dam in Indonesia. Greg is in Bakersfield, California, bright and early. If it's bright even. Clem in Brisbane, where it's definitely dark. I danced at your wedding, Michael. All right. That's amazing. You have to remind me. I'm sure it's some years. Michael in Germany, shalom to you. We have with us Vilma and Batya, together with Adam and Margot, Sina, Jennifer, Tim, Boss, Winston, Benjamin. We have also Josh with us and Life Thrives. Shalom. Pepit, photographer. Akoy in Peru. Beautiful. Clem, you have no sound? I think everybody else does. I hope. It seems to be. Seems to be. We continue in the fourth essay, discussing physical act of a mitzvah, of a divine commandment. Oh, okay, Michael. Yes. Okay, beautiful. All right, thanks for the reminder. Okay. So the physical act of a mitzvah versus the contemplation of the divine, which might be like a mystical, uplifting, kind of cleaving sense of connection to God. And what we spoke about yesterday was how the act of the mitzvah, the performance of the mitzvah, is outweighs the spiritual boost or the spiritual contemplation and the love and awe that one experiences of deep contemplation of the divine. So today we're going to go into some Hasidic geography, which means understanding on a divine level how this expresses itself. And we'll try to make it as understood as possible. So, the Alter Rebbe says, for the performance of a divine commandment, of a mitzvah, these are the works of God, unlike the human engagement. And he explains. Everything comes from the divine, as we've explained in the past. There's no two forces in this world, as in other understandings or faiths, other religions actually. But the process is what's called the Shtalshalus, a chain, an order of events on how the divine comes down into this world. And it can come down in different ways. But it comes down, as we said, in the divine attributes. Everything is made up of light and vessel. Just like there's body and soul that makes me up, right? Form and matter makes up everything. So where does that originate from? Light and vessel of the divine attributes. So the process is of this hishtalshelus, this chain of descent, starts with the vessel, actually, of Atzilus, as it comes down into the world of Bria, Yitzir, Nasiya, meaning the divine attributes. The vessel is the power. Vessel is like the Word of God. There's the also form and matter, soul and body. There's the breath. There's the articulation of the movement of the lips, of the tongue, the teeth, larynx, and palate. Right. So in everything we have that combination, and again that begins with light and vessel, as we've explained at great length in the past. So the Alter Rebbe explains, when it comes to a person who uses their mind to understand the truth, the presence of God, the realness of God, that brings actually to even a intellectually generated love and awe of God. Even if the person possesses a lofty soul in the world of Atzilus, which is, very lofty soul, but in the end, that soul is enclosed in a body. And because it's enclosed in a body, it cannot detect in their soul the divine attributes of kindness, of kindness of Atzilus. It can't. All it can comprehend of it is the existence of it. That's what the mind can apprehend, and that's what the heart can sense. And this is, as we mentioned yesterday, what it means when God said to Moses, to Moshe Rabbeinu, that you will see my achorai, my hinder part, meaning not the essence. I'm sorry. My apologies. Sorry. When God said that to Moses, that you will see my hinder part, there he will be able to see the essence, but it's only through by way of prophecy. But way of the mind, though, by way of the mind, that we should be able to have an experience of actually sensing the divine and cleave to it. All we can not truly cleave to the divine attribute as it is in Atzilus, only to the existence of it, but not to the essence of it, not to the core of it. Something we spoke about yesterday. However, when it comes to a mitzvah, and let's keep it by way of example, the other gives of an esrog, which is the from the lemon family that we use on the holiday of Sukkot. So, just as my thoughts and my feelings connect to the divine, well, this is also connected to the divine. It's animated by the divine. And it's coming from the feminine part of the divine emotions of Atzilus, which is truly the vessels, as we mentioned. Vessels in the world of Atzilus, the world of emanation, are one with God. Now, just for the Kabbalistic jargon, second. So, there are 30 components to a vessel. This is a cup, my mug, Tanya Rabbi. This is got 30 So you have the outside, you have the inside, and you have the middle of the mug. Each one that relates, that's vessel. We don't call it mug, let's call it a vessel, keli, right? 30 components or dimensions to it. Each, the outside, inside, and the middle are times 10, because each, we're talking about the divine attributes over here. So the vessel, right, of the divine emotions as they are in the world of Atzilus are one with the essence and the infinite of God. Okay? They vest themselves, vesting over here, not in a manner of concealment, but they find themselves in this physical world. Excuse me. They find themselves animating in this world directly from vesting themselves into the vessels, or the souls, rather, the soul, neshama of Asiya, and that's actually in a state of divinity. What does that mean? That means that the esrog that you hold on the holiday of Sukkot, with the other three kinds, actually are being animated, as everything in this world is being animated. Everything in this world is being animated in a way, though, that it conceals the divine. The object of the mitzvah doesn't conceal the divine. I mean, obviously you can close your eyes to it, figuratively, and not see it. Absolutely, that's true. But it doesn't conceal the divine, and therefore it itself is the core essence of the divine. Now, your intention that you have about the mitzvah of esrog isn't. But your understanding of the laws and even the mystical meaning behind the esrog is also tapping in through your speech and your thoughts, that you are engaged in cleaving or being bound to the essence of the divine. So even when you're studying, so again, imagine, you're at the holiday of Sukkot and you're holding on to the esrog, or you're holding on to, a cup, a mug. Both are being animated by God. The difference is this conceals on the divine, where the esrog is directly coming from the divine attributes, the vessels, the 30 components of the vessels. We explained the geography over here, and directly is animating the esrog. And therefore that's what makes the esrog holy, and therefore it's a holy object that through doing the mitzvah with it on the holiday, not today of course, but on the holiday, you ultimately, well, we're going to learn more about that, but that's what he says today. All right, well, we spoke about that's how you release the divine spark that's in there, that's animating it, and allowing it to ascend, to be refined and to ascend. Now, when you contemplate and experience or feel or sense through your mind, that you have a comprehension, and that feeds your heart, that you have a love and awe, you are not touching the essence of God. You're not touching, and as we explained over here, it's the external aspect of the divine attributes. It becomes concealed in the chain-like descent as it comes down to animate the 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 notion that I have in my mind, the feelings that I have in my heart, all that is being, I'm connecting to at that moment to the not to the essence of God, but to the existence, the awareness that there is. So, like for example, well, you know what? Okay. Let's unpack this kind of mystical, heavy-duty kind of thing. And today he brought a little more mystical, Hasidic geography to this, and we discussed a lot of this yesterday. So, I might know a lot of facts about another person, right? They went here, they did this, they did that, but I'm not really connected to their core. I'm not really connected to their essence. I'm not truly connected to them, right? However, if that person were to say to me, you know, this is something about me, that this is really an expression of me. This is really an expression of me. This is me. This is me. And through this, you can connect to me. Whatever, you know. And you can really connect to me, to my core essence. So in a similar way, the fact of God. Well, there's a fact of God that he is animating this mug right now. He's animating this world right now. That's the fact of God. But then he comes and says, there's something deeper of me that I vested, or I vested within creation, that allows you to attach yourself to the core of me in a way that everything else, well, has a spark of me animating it, but this is a true reflection of me, not what I do, right? Not the places I've gone, the things I've done. No, this is a true reflection of the inner core of me. And that's what God is saying over here. Through the act of the mitzvah, and what we're giving is just the Hasidic geography over here to kind of understand it, that the vessels of in the world of emanation, the world of Atzilus, are one with God. That vessel comes down in a way without any diminished expression of where it came from. It's only diminished in that it is sort of contained, like a vessel contains. So it's being contained, but it's being contained still. It doesn't lose its actual divinity. And therefore he says that, on Sukkot, that you hold on to this esrog and you do a mitzvah with it, you are touching me. That's what's happening over here. That's what's happening. So it's a direct, it's, some things there's, what's the word I'm looking for? Things that separate as it descends from on high. It separates, it clouds out the divine, and therefore the divine is very much hidden. But here in the mitzvah, it's a true expression of God. This is me. You want to attach yourself to me? If you want to know the things that I did and where I'm going and what I'm doing, okay, that's the facts of me. That's not touching me. That's not touching me. God's saying, well, I'm giving you this opportunity. Now, we explained it here in very mystical terms, right? When we contemplate about God, and we're going to speak more about this tomorrow and to give more modification and definition to what we're saying over here. But me trying to grasp, what I'm grasping of God is not Him, when it's coming through my mind to try to have a mystical kind of experience or feeling of love and awe of God. It's not of the essence of God, but of the fact of God, so to speak. Okay. Let's have some conversation over here. Maybe through some of the questions or discussion, we will gain some greater insight. Anybody with questions? Let me just see over here on Facebook. I think I see a question. 2 question marks before the question, please. Davida, is that why we bring the estranged to our heart after, the estrog, okay, to our heart after shaking it? Is a physical action reflecting spiritual action? Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what we're doing. We are touching the divine, but then we want to bring it to our heart. We're holding the core. When you embrace another person, them, well, that's beyond feeling and that's beyond even comprehension ultimately. But the truth is, we do, even through our comprehension when it comes to a mitzvah, we are grasping to the divine when we are understanding the parameters of the law, of the halacha, of this law of the esrog, let's say, for example. We are touching then and grasping the divine. So when do we touch the core essence of another person? When there's something about them that they make themselves vulnerable and it's really important to them. And by you being aware of the parameters of it and doing it, that thing for them, that they made themselves vulnerable to say that this really touches me deeply, then you're connecting to a very deeper place within that person. And that's what God does. He says here, these are 613 things. He makes himself vulnerable that are very important, that are a reflection of me, is of me. It's of me. It's not just a reflection of me. It is of me. And therefore, when you engage in that, you have me. That's pretty powerful. Lori, you have a question. Yes. Non-kosher would not bring a connection to the essence. Correct. Exactly. Okay. Anybody here? Clubhouse. I don't see anything on Instagram. A question? All right. Either I was not clear, or maybe I was very clear. I don't know. Um, Reminder, we have Rambam today at 1 o'clock. Oh, John, when Moshe ascended to Har Sinai, to Mount Sinai, to receive the utterances from God, was he in the state of Chaya? Good question. He was on top of the mountain, in the clouds. Good question. I'd have to. I think so, but I don't know 100%. Good question. Okay, anybody here? Batya, Vilma, Liana, Norm. Everybody is quiet today.
I can say something about that.
Go ahead.
So for God, it's really wonderful to know about those connections with the mitzvahs, how deep they are and how meaningful. And you said that also can translate, and I know it can translate to human relationships. What is important and what connects to one person doesn't apply to everyone. So what I connect to is not the same as another person connects to, nor what I expect it to be, nor what I want it to be. Everybody has a place of vulnerability that is unique to them. And in order to get to know them, that is a process that cannot be shortcut by anything except having conversations and actually getting to know people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. So here, God did make himself known, makes himself vulnerable. That I'm giving that all as a metaphor, that what he's doing, and we have the Hasidic jargon over here of the divine emotions, the vessel as opposed to the light. The vessel is a container. This now contains something of God, of him, of his essence, not something about him, but him, right? Again, that's the difference. I can know things about people, right? But that doesn't mean I know them or I'm connected to them, right? So I can have, by the way, even through conversation, I can know a lot about them, but that doesn't mean I'm connected to their core, to their essence. So, so God put a piece of him into this mitzvah. That's what a vessel means a container, right? It contains. So it contains a piece of his divine emotion, which that divine emotion, right, for example, is one with him. And remember, that's different than the way it is by us, because that's why, when we share our feelings, not necessarily are we sharing truly ourselves, because we're not one with our emotions. Our emotions are fickle. Today I feel like this, and tomorrow I'll feel like that. So just because I'll tell you, that's why it's not so precise when it speaks about the human condition, because the human condition, again, I'll tell you my feelings today, and tomorrow my feelings might be different, right? So are you really, so maybe you're knowing something about me more than you are really having me. So we have to be careful there. But God, his emotions aren't fickle. So God puts his emotion into a vessel, into a container. And that container, the way it is one with him in Atzilus, that the divine emotion is one with God, with the essence, with the Ein Sof of God, now that descends, and it now takes what's the word I'm looking? It takes a manifestation in the physical world, in that it forms and creates something called an esrog. That esrog, even though it's just a regular fruit any other day, but on the times of the holiday, it now is a container, a vessel that contains a divine emotion that's one with God. So therefore, what you're really having is God in this thing called an esrog. And therefore, when you actually hold on to it, excuse me, on the holiday, and you actually, do a mitzvah with it, what you are connecting to in that thing called an esrog, vested in there, direct, descended into it, is a part of God, so to speak, right? In an open, revealed way. It's a spark now, right, of divinity, but a spark of divinity, absolutely. So that's the uniqueness over here. Now, if again, by me sharing my feelings, yes, you're going to know something of me, but our feelings being that they're fickle, not necessarily are you getting me, because I'm not one with my feelings. Proof is, today I might say, such and such about a person, and tomorrow I might say, might be different, or about, whatever it is. Today I might say, oh, I love Tanya, and tomorrow, well, I'm a little tired, I'm a little, I don't get this, I'm not understanding this, so I'm not loving this. Yeah. So, so did you get me? I mean, you got I got some facts about you that yesterday you said this and today you said that, but did you really touch me? No. Not just because I shared feelings, not just because I shared things. That doesn't work the same way as it does in the divine. So, just having conversation, yeah, you get to know some facts about people, but that doesn't mean you get to the core essence of them. You know who does? A tzaddik, the Rebbe, that in a moment he can see the core of your soul, connect to that core, and give that core what it needs. We don't do that so well. We're not righteous. So we don't, we connect to, little tidbits, little niceties, little things about people, but not necessarily to the core. So important to appreciate that distinction.
But the fact that we connect at all is amazing, and that we keep trying. It's like beautiful, because we do that for the rest of our lives. Connect with others, or at least try.
Yeah, this is not a self-help session right now about that. We're using all of that to appreciate and understand, the daily teachings, and so, human relationships we need to appreciate. That's why human relationships are so fickle, is because, we don't connect to the core essence of a person. We connect to some tidbits and some ideas and thoughts and feelings about the person, and not to their core. So, for example, when when you connect to the core, you're connecting to the neshama of the person, to their soul. And their soul is beyond feelings. It's beyond, their ideas and so on. And it's a little, it's a deeper thing. And that's why really it's on the divine level when you think about it. It's really a divine thing we're talking about. But yes, of course, we need to connect with people, absolutely, because of our divine connection. And the more the divine connection is honed properly, the better there will be the connections that we'll be able to make with other human beings, which is absolutely correct. All right, folks. As always, Always a pleasure. And conversation to continue. We ain't finished yet. We not finished yet. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Wishing everyone a wonderful day. God bless you all.